So tonight we're looking at well, apologies, this is a totally unplanned live stream, so I didn't plan on streaming tonight, but there is a launch happening. So we are going to take a look at it. It's a launch by NASA and Northrop Grumman. So this launch is taking place in a few minutes from now. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to switch over now so we can take a look and see, apologies, how far they are and how the countdown is going. Give me 1 second to switch over. Okay, so the launch is taking place in about 7 minutes. I'm going to turn on the volume for the launch in a few minutes as well. Let's see. Okay, at this stage, let me just turn on the volume here.
That's
Stand by.
Standing by.
LCTV,
Now you
we are
should be able
currently
to hear
red.
it. If you can't, give me a
One
shout.
of our backup computer systems is
take a
down
look
at
at
this
it.
time. Take about 4 minutes to recycle.
Okay, copy.
6
And when you
minutes
come
to
back
go.
up in 4 minutes,
This
will you be
particular
ready to
launch
roll?
is a resupply mission to the ISS, the International Space Station. They're basically taking fresh food and
Okay.
also some scientific equipment,
Roger that. Check
experiments and
14,
so on.
Ops 2, initialize ground ordnance power supplies.
Okay.
It's quite interesting
Well, you don't
what
see
they're
this
taking
every
up. In
day.
fact,
I've never
they're
heard of
taking
that.
up some medical
Never.
experiments.
Did they just go blue
because
screen?
certain diseases develop a bit
Basically,
faster in
they
zero
need to
gravity.
recycle a computer,
They
and the
are
computer
taking
takes 4 minutes to recycle,
certain
and the
viruses
count's
and
6
certain
minutes.
medical
And they
equipment
ask,
to
when
the
it comes back
International
up at
Space
T-minus
Station
2
to
minutes, are you ready to
see
keep going?
how it develops, or the
Really, who
viruses
hasn't
or
been
the
there with a
diseases
computer
develop
that
in
needs to be
space.
restarted?
And well, as a result of
Okay,
this, they can
join this conference call. Oh
basically
no, I need to
speed
restart
up
my
the
computer.
research
Jeez.
into
I hope it
medical
comes up with all of their
procedures or
apps and everything
medicine.
ready to go, and they don't have to like.
They're also
okay, I need
actually
this
taking
open.
up
I got to open Discord and
a
Chrome
3D printer
and YouTube
as
and
well
yeah.
to test.
Well, I'm
Basically,
sure
they're
they
going
don't
to
use
test
Discord,
this
but I
3D printer
do.
in space and see how it performs in zero gravity.
Yeah, okay, so
And,
basically, all
well,
joking
they plan
aside,
on
they've had a computer
printing,
issue. They need to recycle the
well, using
computer.
this
It takes
particular
4
3D
minutes to
printer
recycle. The
for
launch director asked if
printing
they would be able
moon,
to
well,
just
stuff
keep
from moon
rolling.
dust, if you can believe it.
When that
So yeah,
computer
it's
was
also
back
a
up, they
pretty
said
important
standby, so
experiment that
they're
they
going
are
off,
going
they're
to
recycling
perform.
it, they're going to see. That is what we know.
Apologies, I see the browser's volume are on high, so I don't know how much you heard of me and the guy from NASASpaceflight screaming in the background. Apologies for that. The launch is now 4 minutes away. As soon as the launch starts, I'm going to shut up and you can listen to the countdown. I'll stop talking probably about, well, a minute or so before the launch, so you can admire the launch and hear the commentary from their side. There's about 4 minutes left before the launch. I think in the meantime, I'm going to show you something else just to make you understand, or give you an example of how this launch actually works. Like I said, it's a resupply mission to the ISS, and the time window is very slim, so they have to launch in this next few minutes, in 4 minutes time. I think I'll leave the details for after the launch. I don't think we're going to have enough time to go through the details of the launch. Unfortunately, I started the stream a bit too late. But like I said, they're taking up food, they're taking up scientific equipment and experiments to the ISS. This particular rocket they're using is an Antares rocket, apologies. Antares rocket. It's about 45 meters long. It's a 2-stage rocket. The video I'll show you after the launch, the actual launch, will make it a bit more clear on how it works and how it's, well, supposed to work if all goes to plan. I know a few years back one of these specific rockets blew up just after launch, if I'm not mistaken. It might have been even on the launch pad, I can't remember. But yeah, now we've got about 3 minutes left. The launch is taking place from the Wallops Flight Facility in Virginia. The cargo capsule, or the spaceship or spacecraft itself, was named after one of the astronauts that died in 1986 in the Challenger disaster. So the spacecraft, the cargo craft, is called SS Allison Onizuka, if I'm not mistaken. So in honor of him, they named the craft after him. About 2 minutes 25 seconds left. I think this is the 15th, it's either the 15th or 16th, but I think it's the 15th mission between NASA and Northrop Grumman to resupply the National Space Station. So it's not a monopoly for SpaceX at this stage in regards to resupplying the International Space Station. 1 minute 47. Unfortunately, I can't hear the commentary. For some reason, I'm on mute. I can't unmute it, but you'll be able to hear it just fine. And if you don't, give me a shout. One minute 25 at about, before 20 seconds before the launch, I'll keep quiet and I'll unmute the footage that we've got courtesy of NASASpaceflight. I'll play you a clip afterwards of Northrop Grumman that just explains how the rocket launch was planned, or just gives an idea on how it operates and works. "40 seconds.
Station. Crossing 20 seconds now. All right, we should be 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That should be engine ignition and liftoff of the Antares rocket and the SS Ellison Onizuka to the International Space Station.
Thank goodness for solid state drives.
I got lost listening to that deep rumbling roar of the RD-181. But
going almost directly. Yeah, look at this, going almost directly away from Thomas now. It's just a point in the sky.
Indeed.
Go ahead, Chris.
And that vehicle, 75 seconds crossing max Q, or maximum dynamic pressure. Interesting note for the Antares, it does not throttle down at max Q. This beast of a rocket just keeps going at 100% throttle on those engines through max Q. So we should be, there should be just over 1 minute of first stage flight remaining at this time. That first stage burns for about just over 3 minutes and brings the vehicle to an altitude of roughly 83 kilometers.
Thomas still has it there as well.
Look at that. Oh, look, and you can see the engine's plume expansion and everything too. Look at that. Yeah, it's a crystal clear day in Virginia. Thomas doing a great job with that track. And when that first stage cuts out, we're also going, we'll walk through what happens in that minute-long coast phase here as well, but you can really see Antares, it's pitched over and heading out downrange very, very, very quickly now to the southeast of Virginia.
And look at that expansion on the plume there.
Look at that.
Beautiful.
Remember, you hear me say this all the time. I
Gorgeous.
mean, we always say this, but you can see that the atmosphere is less dense up there. You see how the plume sort of spreads way out to the side. It's not a little pencil of flame, but you're literally visualizing the lower atmospheric pressure. There's just not much air up there.
So I'm just going to take down the volume for the particular clip from NASASpaceflight. Hi Gerrit, I see you're here.
That in action as the rocket gets
Unfortunately, I can't hear the video clip myself, so I'm guesstimating what's happening, but at least I'm watching the launch.
It depends on where your rocket is on how you should draw your fire. If it's up high, your rocket should be have a huge fire behind it, and if the rocket's just taking off, it should be a little teeny tiny pencil flame at the bottom, so you can make your rocket drawings more realistic.
And we just crossed the 3-minute mark into the flight.
Takes quite some time to disappear.
That little pinprick of light, as Das was just saying.
I know usually they travel about, I think, 17 to 25,000 kilometers an hour.
There you go.
Yep.
And we got the flicker, so there it was. So they should switch over to some animation now, but what's happening now is the first stage is shut down and will separate. The next thing is the separation of the payload fairings after several seconds and separation of the interstage to release the Castor 40 XL upper stage with the Cygnus.
Well, now I'm just watching a blue sky and I can't hear anything. So I'm going to stop the clip there for a second, I think.
Guidance algorithm is locking onto a flight solution to bring the vehicle.
So yeah, that was the NASA Northrop Grumman. Sorry, let me just get this clip out of my way.
The burn of the second stage underway now for the...
And I would assume that this is the control room. I know that Houston takes over the flight control at some stage of the flight. And so I'm not sure if this is in Virginia or if this is in Houston. But you know how the saying goes.
There's what I want.
You know how the saying goes, Houston, we have a problem. Let's hope there is no problems with this launch, because there's lots of important equipment and supplies on board on this particular flight, or launch at least.
Yeah, folks, back here at the
So,
site, we had a gorgeous liftoff, and you can see that big venting from the ground support equipment over at
quite curious to see what's causing that steam or smoke. It looks like steam. I wonder if it's the fuel facility that's creating the cloud.
One thing I love about the art,
like I said, I can't hear what the commentary is like on this, so I can't really tell you. But I think I'm going to stop the clip there. Okay. I think I'm going to show you a clip now that's going to basically explain to you how they operated and what they did and why they did it. There's no sound on this, but I'll explain to you what I understand from this clip in a second. Let me just get up. Okay, let me just rewind it a bit. Here we go. These are obviously the guys working at Northrop Grumman, and well, in conjunction with NASA. Okay, and what you see there, this is them transporting the rocket to the launch pad. And they actually, the rocket was lying horizontal at a stage because they basically put it's like a containment tent or containers, something to the likes. They put around the section of the rocket that they're going to load cargo and supplies on. A sterilized environment that they create around the loading bay of this rocket. And well, because it's fresh food that they send up as well, not just medical samples and equipment. So fresh food, you know, astronauts have to eat as well. Yeah, so there it is. Time critical cargo is loaded into the Cygnus. Excuse my pronunciation, I'm not very familiar with Northrop Grumman and their program. I should be, I know. I'm not, unfortunately. I'm working on it. So this is 24 hours, less than 24 hours before they launch, that they load this equipment and food and so on. And that's where they let a rocket lie horizontally. You can see that, I think that container you see at the start, it looks like it basically moves over the rocket and creates the sterilized environment where they load the rocket. And after that, they put it back upright, and that's before the launch. A few hours, I think 2 or 3 hours before the launch. And that's once it's in orbit. After the second stage, or well, it deploys its solar panel, and then it's on its way to the International Space Station, which takes about a day and a half. I think, I'm speaking under correction, but I think they said it reaches the International Space Station about on Thursday morning, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's American time, so yeah. And obviously that's on the station. And yeah, people don't really, well, most people don't really understand the importance of studies or scientific experiments in terms of International Space Station, or more specifically for zero gravity. The things you can do in zero gravity is, well, we're still on the tip of the iceberg of understanding everything we can actually achieve if we do experiments there and tests and so on. Like I said, with the medical samples and medical experiments, the stuff they're doing, it's mind-blowing. Like I said, viruses and certain diseases apparently grows exponentially faster in zero gravity, which means they can perform their studies exponentially faster. So yeah, it makes a big difference. Okay, so this is the re-entry. I think they jettison it from the International Space Station. Let's see what happens here. That's kind of fast. And this is courtesy of NASA TV and Northrop Grumman. I think, and there we start from the beginning again. So yeah, let me just deactivate and activate this camera of mine. So yeah, that's the long and the short of it for tonight. That was the quick launch of the Antares rocket by NASA and Northrop Grumman. So this launch just took place. Unfortunately, I had no lead time, so I didn't really prepare too much for it. But I think I've got some, well, interesting details on it at least. Yeah, guys, remember to give me a like down there. I always get my directions messed up with the camera. Give me a like down there and a subscription if you are interested in this type of content. We'll be covering future space launches, especially SpaceX. For a change, I did not cover SpaceX, but Northrop Grumman, which unfortunately I do not have that much knowledge about. Well, now I do, to a degree at least. But yeah, very interesting. Not the largest rocket, but it's big enough, 45 meters high. Yeah, two-stage rocket as well. I think I'm going to end it there. This was the 15th resupply mission to the International Space Station. They've had some setbacks, but NASA actually are making quite sure that they don't create a situation where SpaceX has a monopoly on this industry and well, the type of services being provided here. Yeah, I think I'm going to end it there. Let me just see if I can get this sorted quickly. Oh gosh. Okay. Guys, I appreciate you guys watching up so late. Gerard, I know you're watching. I really appreciate it. And yeah, guys, stay safe and keep well and goodbye.